Welcome to another installment of the 1942 Capehart 500M restoration. Up on the bench we now have the extended control system for the Capehart 500 that was ordered by Nate Miller back in 1942. So this is what would originally come with any Series M Capehart back in 1942, whether it be a 400 or some sort of upgrade as such, the 500M that we're working on. So here's the copy of the factory service information for the extended and remote control systems. This is an extended control. A remote control system would have had a mixing panel and several remotes in different rooms, such like that. So there is a difference for Capehart, as many from the modern collecting world view this as a remote control. It is, but in what Capehart called was the extended control. So here's page 2 of that service literature. You can see we have the remote here. On the top here we have our low and high volume control, and then we have 6 pre-selectors, 3 on each side. Phono, selection, record reject, on and off feature. So 1941 utilized the same style of extended control. This one's a little special for 2 reasons. Number one, it has a accessory extension cable, and to my knowledge it's the only Capehart accessory extension cable for an extended control known to exist here within the collecting community. This was ordered originally by Nate Miller, and it was in the machine when I purchased it several years ago, undisturbed for decades upon decades. So remember, the machine was last used probably 1947, 48, maybe 1949. So we have our extension cable here, which was a accessory you could order through the dealer back in the day. We have our extended control right here. This is made out of Catalin, and it's not brittle per se, but it's expanded a little bit through the age, although it looks in pretty good shape. I haven't cleaned or done anything to any of these yet. Now, one of the issues with some of these later Capehart extended controls, which I've seen quite a few through the years, mainly 1940, 41, and 42, and 1939, which is a different style. These buttons, they get stuck. This one moves a little bit, but a lot of these are frozen because the Catalin is expanded or shrank. In this case, the Catalin is shrank a very small amount. Here's the underside. We have our cable that comes up to all of our buttons, and then our pilot lamp, which will glow when this is on. So this is the actual extended control. It's quite large. It's very beautiful, very Art Deco. Original cabling appears to be soft. It's not crunchy. Of course, inside this ribbon cable you would have a set of wires, conductors. They'd most likely be rubber by the late 30s. And these are all in excellent shape. It's unbelievable because this unit was stored away from sunlight, and most likely on the west coast of California, helped with preserving these cables, which nobody currently reproduces, and I don't know if they ever will. So the second really interesting feature is this right here. This is a book. This is a fake book, that is, a false book, and I'll show you a picture of what it looks like complete. So right here we have the remote control that sits inside. It has a cover over it, which is this right here. It sits inside the book, which our book is right here, and we have a cover. Once it's closed, that's what it looks like. Well, here's our cover right here. It fell off actually when the machine was being demonstrated before I bought it. The individual who was most helpful in selling the owner's Capehart, I asked him to open the book on a video call, and when he did, it was so fragile it kind of just fell off. That's okay. This thing is from 1942. It's real leather, which is amazing. The condition of this is in pretty good shape for what it is. There's only 3 books known to exist within the collecting community. There may be another one out there, but so far only 3 known to exist. Maybe even 2, not 3. So anyhow, that is a really neat extra feature. And then behind us we have the remote or the extended control cable, and then over there on the bench is the backing for this, for the extended control. So here's our game plan. We're going to obviously disassemble the extended control, clean the Catalan, get all that prepped, and we're going to use a very fine file, and we're going to have to file around the push buttons to make sure that they move freely. I want to remove very little material for obvious reasons. It'd look weird if you can see too much surface area removed, although you can kind of see that maybe in some of these areas already. You can see where the Catalan has expanded or contracted. So anyhow, we're going to have to do that to free up the buttons. When we do that, we're also going to clean all the contacts for the buttons underneath, where of course we'll be taking this apart. I'm going to have to desolder each individual wire that comes off this ribbon cable in order to get it out of the book. The book is one piece. There's no access point really. It's kind of opened up here down at the bottom just because of age and wear. So we're going to have to remove the cable. The book is going to be set aside for now, mainly just for display. I would like to restore it. I'll probably have it done professionally if so, because this is leather binding. I don't know how I would proceed with that or if it's even possible. Although right now the book's going to be a static display item. But the extended control we're going to have with the machine, including its cable and everything else. So when we come back, we'll go ahead and have this cover off, and we'll show the Catalan all polished and cleaned. It's a really rare opportunity right here to see these items. There's very few extended controls out there. At one point I owned a 1939 G extended control, which is now in the hands of a Capehart 500G owner, and he is working on getting his extended control restored. It also has Catalan. And I know a few collectors around the nation that have extended controls as well as remote controls, depending on which version machine they had from the dealer. So very few of these out here, very rare to come across. Thought it'd be a rare opportunity to kind of show off what 1942 had to offer. So when we come back, we'll have this cover off, and Catalan will be all cleaned up, and we'll take a closer look inside this very rare and beautiful extended control.